Hello everyone. I really apologize for starting the session a little bit delayed. So we will be extending the today's session because we are starting at 9:30. So we will be extending till 10:30 and 10:45. Please stay with us till end of today's session. And I'll be starting the session in just 2 minutes. So once again, if I really apologize for any inconvenience. Meanwhile, please do let us know from where you guys have joined. We'll be happy to know that.
Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100 plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100 plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500 plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100 plus authorized training partners and 50 plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000 plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices.
Hello everyone, my name is Pratibha. A very warm welcome back to all of you in learning one more impactful session of learning and development. I'll be your moderator today. So first of all, I would really like to apologize for starting the session a little bit delay. I'm really sorry for any inconvenience. So not wasting any more time, let's start with this today's session. I hope you're all ready for that. Just allow me a minute to share my screen and we'll start with the session. So, on behalf of the Global Skill Development Council, I'm truly delighted to welcome you all into the GSTC Certified Learning, the Learning and Development Reset, redefining skills, strategies, and business impact for the year ahead, designing future ready skills that drive impact. And one of the thing which make this webinar so interesting is the amazing expert panel we have lined up for you. Some of them have already delivered a very incredible and insightful sessions, and others are all set to bring in more powerful ideas. So for those who have joined with us for the very first time, let me give you a quick introduction who we are. Global Skill Development Council is a globally recognized certification body. We are accredited by ABICB. Till yet, we have a 250,000 professionals certified with us. We are partnered with 500 plus subject matter experts who contribute to our program. We are also associated with 100 plus training partners across globe, 1,000 plus multinational companies, and 50 plus universities worldwide. So these are the training partners who are associated with us from the Asia, Africa, Canada, Australia, Nigeria, Singapore. Special thanks to all training partners for helping us improving our program. And a very special thank you to our media partner, WordPress Hub, for covering all of our press releases and event releases. So before starting the session, I just wanted to make a quick announcement that we have just launched a very unique platform called GSDC AI Studio, Lifelong Learning Initiative, in which you will be getting 100 plus live monthly sessions with global experts, 4 daily sessions, 45-minute live expert lead session for hands-on learning, sessions from global expert. You can learn directly from our AI leaders around the world, real-time practice. You can apply concept immediately and get your question answered. Certification ready, you will be getting the training aligned with industry standard for job ready skills. So do you want to know how you can get the benefit of GSDC AI Studio? Well, let me tell you. So there are three ways. First, you have a free 14-day access in which you will be getting the 80 plus live session per month and access to full GSTC studio. Second, you have a GSTC lifelong membership. You will be upgrading to Pro in $109 and you will be getting the lifetime access of 80 plus live session per month, access to full GSTC studio, free GSDC membership, access to physical events, and LinkedIn profile improver. Last but not the least, we have GSTC certification plus lifetime membership. So now participant, this offer is for a very limited time of period. Make sure you're taking the advantage of it because you're going to get the lifetime access of GSTC certification, all benefits of lifetime membership, personalized coaching, capstone projects plus AI tool, GSDC Copilot, and competency assessment tool. So this all you will be getting in $100 only. So what are you waiting for? Take the advantage of this offer. So currently we are covering 100% certification in our portfolio, including the learning and development, HR, Gen AI, Agentic AI, emerging technologies, ISO lead auditor and implementer, project management and PMO, Agile DevOps and SRE, cybersecurity, digital transformation, and many more. But once you get certified with GSDC, you just don't walk away with the certification. You also become a part of our community, which comes with GSDC membership benefits, including lifelong membership, certification upgrade, workshop boot camps, learning club access, also the full benefit of GSDC AI Studio, and many more. With that, it's time to welcome our today's speaker. Today we have Ashwani A. Raman with us. Ashwani A. Raman is an education and leadership development specialist with over 12 years of global experience designing learning initiative across India, Southeast Asia, Africa, and the United States. She works closely with organizations to build manager and leadership capability, helping translate learning into real behavioral changes and workplace impact. Her experience spans program for first-time and middle managers, educators, and distributed team, including initiative tied directly to performance and organizational outcome. She is a former Tech for Indian Fellow, an ICF trained leadership coach, and an AMI certified assistant, and is known for designing learning experiences that are practical, human, and grounded in real workplace realities rather than the theory or trends. And today she is going to lead the session on designing effective learning delivery strategies for the modern workforce, ensuring engagement, retention, and impact. But before handing over the virtual mic, just a quick reminder, if you have any query regarding the GSTC initiative, or if you want to connect with Ashwini in the session regarding any query or any guidance, please feel free to use the chat box. Once again, don't be shy. Drop your reactions, emojis, and quick comment into the chat. That's how we know you're with us, actively listening and absorbing from the insightful session. We also have an announcement to make at the end of today's session, which is a $400 worth gift certification voucher. With that, it's time to welcome Ashwani on our platform. Thank you so much, Ashwani, coming on our platform. We are very honored to have you as our speaker. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Pratibha. I hope you all can hear me. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just going to share my screen before we get started. Awesome. Great. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. In this session, we will be taking a deeper look at what actually helps design effective learning delivery strategies for the modern workforce, thus ensuring engagement, retention, and impact, right? So let's get started. So why is this important? Like, why are we talking about this now, right? Most organizations these days are investing heavily on people capability development and behavior change. Yet we've noticed time and again that even after multiple interventions, lot of resources, money, time going in, behavior often remains more or less the same. I'm sure most of you here have had similar experience, which is why you're here today. So let's deep dive into what is happening, right? What happens usually when learning initiatives don't land? And by don't land, I mean they don't lead to behavior change, right? What usually happens? When such a thing happens, we immediately think of whether the content was right, was the session engaging enough, did the facilitator land it well? These are reasonable questions. They're also the most visible parts of learning experience, so it makes sense that they get our attention first. Content, facilitation, engagement are right in front of us. We can tweak them, improve them, rerun the session. All of this can be done, right? And this is what initially everyone thinks of. And add that to the pressure that comes in to act quickly. Focusing on these things feel the right thing to do. So a lot of people think of like, okay, let us just fix the session. Okay, behavior hasn't changed. People are doing the same thing. Let's just fix the session, right? And if that has been your instinct, that's very human response to this problem. But what is interesting is what we usually miss. It is something that is much harder to see and much harder to design. This is the role you as leaders and managers can play around learning, both before and after learning happens. What I've noticed across multiple contexts is that delivery decisions are often made very early, sometimes without even realizing it. So let's take a small example, right? Say a team notices that managers are avoiding feedback conversations. When that comes up, immediately someone at the table is like, oh, so this is happening. Let's just do a session on the training on feedback. In that moment, a few decisions are quietly made. What are they? When someone says we should just do a training on feedback, it is assumed or a decision is made that this is a skill problem, that it is not the problem of the context, it is not the problem of the system, but it is the skill. It's a problem with skill of the manager, right? It's also decided or it's also assumed that a session will solve for it. And finally, a decision and assumption that happens is that managers will apply it on their own afterwards. No one explicitly is saying these decisions, but they pass on anyway, right? And once these decisions are in place, they fully shape what is happening, what is going to happen afterwards, what is possible, the engagement, the retention, the outcome, no matter how good or bad the facilitation is. Right? So, what is our core idea today? What we're discussing today is very simple. Learning delivery isn't just a facilitation design. It is about noticing where the decisions are already being made and redesigning those decisions intentionally. And how do we do that? That's what we're going to see in today's session. Yeah? Okay. Let's deep dive. Let's look at a scenario. A common capability focus we've all noticed across organizations, the one that happens almost every year, is building manager and leader capability for people conversation. It could be regular feedback conversations, schedule development conversations, performance conversations, or something that most people find it difficult is just difficult conversations, right? So what usually happens when such a problem is presented for us, right? It is noticed that managers struggle or avoid these conversations or just get through it using what they're supposed to say. And usually there's like a template what they're supposed to ask, say. So it's one of these two. Either they avoid or they're not doing a good job or they're just doing what is like a checklist, right? So when this problem is presented, How are decisions usually made? We notice that managers are avoiding or struggling these conversations. Immediately we design, we need training, just like how we saw before. We design a program or a workshop, and then we hope behavior will follow. Behavior change, confidence will follow. At this point, most of the delivery decisions are already locked in, often without us realizing at all. Right? So let's just pause here. Okay? We're not going to redesign anything. We're just going to see if for this problem, how do we shift delivery thinking using a different set of questions? So we're going to look at a couple of anchor questions, which we are going to use to see how we can shift our delivery decisions, right? So anchor question 1. We are going to start with what behavior we want to see shift. What is it what would we want managers to do differently in these conversations? That is, what is our goal? What is the intended behavior? What is the intended outcome? We are saying managers are struggling to have these conversations, feedback conversations. What we want to see? Probably we want to see, let me think, like really two-way conversation, productive conversation. It's not becoming defensive. You're taking in feedback, you're giving feedback. It's data-oriented, right? So can the conversations... Yeah, Prabhakar, you're right. It's a complex answer, but can we break it down? That's what the anchor question is, right? Can we break down what exactly is that we want managers to be doing differently? We are not at this stage asking what should they know. We are not at this stage asking what model they need to remember. We are not at this stage going into frameworks, etc. Right? We are literally thinking of what actually should they do differently compared to what they're doing right now. So they're already doing something. You're not happy with it. What should they do different? That's it. It's actually simple, right? If we actually go in and get the data, it's pretty simple. So we are going to note down, take some time and do this first. Then we'll go into context and constraints, right? When and where do these conversations actually happen today? What are these conversations? When are they happening? Where do they happen? And right now, if we are saying these conversations are not effective, that managers are struggling with these conversations, what is getting in their way? It could be time pressure. I've seen managers who have 20 plus subordinates, right? Having feedback conversation every quarter with 20 plus people, direct subordinates, right? I'm talking about direct, not indirect. Is a lot of time spent. It's very difficult. They have other things to manage. So it's like very difficult to figure out how to manage time, right? It could also be that they are having other priorities. It could also be that these conversations take a lot of time, effort, planning. So they could genuinely sort of, be overwhelmed by it and think that, oh my God, I'm just going to do it later, probably later, just procrastinate and avoid. And then finally, it could also actually an assumption of the skill gap could be right. It's absolutely possible that the manager doesn't have the skill to have these conversations, right? So we started with the behavior. We start with what is it that I want to see. Then we go into what is happening right now and why is it not happening, right? Why is the ideal outcome not happening today? Can I identify the constraints? And then finally, we go into the role we as leaders play in this, right? What will managers and leaders of the participants do before and after this learning? And we're assuming it's going to be a training, right? To make these conversations more likely to happen the way we want. Okay, that's a big sentence, so we'll read it again. What will managers and leaders of the participants do before and after this learning to make this conversation more likely to happen the way we want? Let's take the same feedback conversation example, right? Imagine managers managers attend a well-designed session on feedback. Now zoom out slightly. What usually happens before the learning? No one is asking these managers what kind of feedback conversation they're struggling with. There is no expectation set on what we're doing afterwards. The message is just attend the session and we'll see how it goes. Right? We also see that after the session, things largely remain the same because there is no follow-up conversation with their higher ups. There is no check-in. No one checks whether they have tried anything. There is no space to reflect on what worked, right? Nothing. So learning just sits in isolation. Yeah. Now contrast to the model we are asking you to think about. Imagine what could happen if the participant's manager, that is the manager's manager, before the training sits with them and asks them, okay, can you tell me what kind of feedback conversations are you avoiding? What is happening in your feedback conversations? Right? What is working? What is not working? Where are you struggling? Why are you doing them on? Why aren't you doing them on time? Or why is the quality not okay? Just like very genuinely ask and seek data, right? Which in turn can feed into the session planning and learning design. And then after the learning, can this manager's manager sit with them and check in? Hey, did you try any of the conversation strategies? What happened? What worked? What didn't work? What have you been doing? What did you take away from the session? Same content, it could be the same session, but the likelihood of behavior change is going to be very different in this scenario. Right? I'm just going to pause here for this to just settle in. We looked at 3 anchor questions. 3 questions we would recommend you ask before you go into designing a learning experience is 1, what behavior you want to see shifted? What are the constraints and context right now? And what role do the managers of the participants play before and after the learning happens? Okay? Just going to pause here for a few seconds. Okay? Now that you've seen an example, I want you to look at it for yourself. Okay? You're going to think of a people capability initiative that you're planning, or an initiative that you planned and probably didn't quite land well. And you're going to think through these 3 anchor questions. Right? The behavior. What do you want to see change? What is the outcome? What is the intended behavior change? The constraints and the context. And then finally, what role do the leaders play? Okay? going to just play some ambient music. I don't know if I shared my. Okay, I'm just going to, I don't know if you can hear the music, but I'm just going to put the time. Okay, I hope you got enough time to just like reflect and think. If you have any reflections, thoughts, questions, put them on chat, put them on comments. We'll pick it up and we'll try and answer the question. Okay, so this is what we were reflecting on, right? Again, the anchor questions are behavior. If this capability building effort works, what should participants do differently in real context? Constraints and context are where and when do these conversations actually need to happen? What gets in the way right now? And what will managers and leaders or the participants do before and after this learning to make these conversations more likely to happen the way we want? Right? As you thought about it, I'm sure you were able to come up with things that were comfortable, that was easy. You were also able to think of something that was uncomfortable. That's okay. That's absolutely okay. Okay, we can work through it. You'll figure it out. These reflections are important. It's absolutely needed for learning systems and learning delivery to completely shift into something that is more effective and impactful. Yeah. So what did we see today, right? I want you to understand that delivery isn't just about engagement strategies in a session. Those are important too. But if the content is not relevant, it doesn't come at the appropriate time, or it isn't tied to the day-to-day work, or if it doesn't have follow-up with their managers, then learning doesn't stick. So it is in your hands that these decisions lay in order to make behavior change and learning outcomes possible, right? Now, this is when people ask me, okay, what about engagement? How do we make the session more engaging? What we saw in the previous section is that engagement isn't something we just add at the end, right? It is about clarity. It is about relevance and expectation that drives engagement in these sessions. People don't disengage because they don't care. They disengage because the design isn't asking them to do anything meaningful. Both the facilitators and the participants are helpless if these anchor questions aren't answered during the decision and in the design phase, right? So where does delivery strategy actually begin? It begins when we get clarity in behavior. It begins when we understand the context and the constraints. And it begins when we talk about leadership reinforcement. So I have a question here, right? Does it apply to functional or technical scenarios too? Actually, yes. So we are talking about behavioral scenario. Absolutely applies to technical scenarios, functional scenarios as well. You start with understanding what is it that you want them to be taking away, whether it's a skill, knowledge, anything, right? What is it that you want them to learn? Say, for example, you want them to be, say, having more knowledge about all the products that are available in the organization. And you want them to be cross-selling products, for example, in the organization, right? When they're going out, they're not just selling what is in their catalog, but they look at the customer and they figure out who this customer needs this another thing. Can I cross sell? Can I remember that there's another thing that is there and then bring it back here? Again, usually when we think of trainings, right, it goes back to that. This is also a behavior change, right? What is the behavior we are talking about? Oh, the salesperson is not doing a cross selling at this particular time. And then we figure, okay, cross selling is not happening because they don't have knowledge about other products. So then that becomes, that is my constraint, and right, the behavior changes that cross selling is not happening. My constraint, let's go to that slide. My context and constraint, why is it not happening, could be because they don't know the product details, etc., right? And then of course what is already happened, so you can find the data, more and more data on what is happening right now, right? Why is this not happening? Have a conversation, get more data. Maybe they know, but they think they're not supposed to talk about other products, could be an issue. Maybe they don't know, could be an issue. Then you do then design training accordingly, then do a follow. Yeah, so it absolutely applies to functional and technical scenarios as well. Yeah. So yes, so delivery strategy that we're talking about begins when there's clarity on behavior, when there is understanding of context, when there is leadership reinforcement. Right? Reinforcement, by reinforcement, what we mean is the leadership more involved in the behavior change? Is the leadership more involved in what needs to happen? Are they talking about what was told in these sessions? Are they talking about what was introduced to the participants in the session, so that they think it's important to work on it, and then that's what is reinforcement, right? Whatever you've heard and learned is starting to get applied in your job. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of our webinar. So next time when someone asks, we need a training, I invite you to hold this lens in the conversation. I invite you to ask what needs to shift in behavior, where will this show up in real work, and what support or reinforcement exists around it. Once you have this charted, you will see that your retention, engagement, and impact will skyrocket. Yeah? Thank you. And over to you, Pratibha.
Thank you so much, Ashwini, for the amazing and impactful session. I'm sure our participants have learned a lot. So the participant floor is officially open for question and answer. If you have any question, please feel free to let us know. Meanwhile, Ashwini, we do have few questions from the participant of LinkedIn and YouTube. So the first question we have, how can organizations design learning delivery models that balance flexibility, scalability, and learner engagement in a hybrid workforce?
Can you type that out? Is that possible, Pratibha?
Yes, just 1 second. Yes, I've just sent the question.
How can organizations design learning delivery models that balance flexibility, scalability, and learner engagement in a hybrid force? I would say we will let us think of, okay, if flexibility, scalability and learner engagement are the key, right? How am I supposed to balance these? I would look at what is it that I want. I would take one thing at a time. I would take something small. What is it that I want to achieve in this particular learning engagement? Obviously, as a learning strategist or as a learning development professional, you are not given this thing, right? You're not told that, oh, come on, now why don't you balance flexibility, scalability, and learner engagement, right? So when I look at flexibility, I look at different organizations define it very, very differently. What does that mean? Hence, then how do I bring it into my learning experience? Scalability is obviously there's so many people at scale. What does training look like? Generally, when there is a large number of employees that need to be trained, we think of train the trainer model, we think of e-learning, we think of other tech related interventions, and then see what does that look like, right? And similarly, when the workforce is hybrid, what is working for certain people at what times? I'm assuming flexibility, hybrid, etc., right? Us in the similar lines. What will that look like? Where are they present? Where is the challenge? What is it that we're trying to solve? I will start there. The behavior change, the constraint, and then the leadership role. I would still go with the same three things.
Thank you so much for amazing and insightful answer. So the second question also I have I've shared into the chat. How can learning delivery strategies be personalized to meet the needs of multi-generational and role diverse employees?
I would actually start by creating learner persona, right? So you have people before you start your design, get in the data of who are your learners coming in, right? And understand, okay, which generation they fall into, what is their role, what is the work that they do, what is their uh, uh, contribution to the organization, what is it that they are looking for in this session, and what is the intended behavior change, okay, for this group. Then I would create learner persona, and you can research this. It's very fun. So there are usually 2-3 learner personas in any given learning design experience. What How will each of these personas act, think, do, act in my session during the experience? I would do that. I'm happy to answer
Thank,
more.
thank you so sorry, thank you so much for the great answer. So the next question we have, what technologies and platforms are most effective for delivering learning at the point of need without disturbing the productivity?
That depends on whether technology and platforms, that depends on whether you want to go live, you want to do synchronous learning or synchronous training or asynchronous training, right? Whether if you wanted to be live, obviously like in person is great. Otherwise, you can catch people via Zoom, but Zoom is like virtual is also very, people are probably off camera, off mute. Not sort of engaging, etc. So depending again, if it is, I have seen personally, if the training is extremely relevant to their work, it is tied to the data that we have collected from them, and it is told that this is how it will be reinforced, any training will work, irrespective of virtual, live, asynchronous, e-learning, etc. Right? At the point of need without disrupting productivity, see, it depends on when it is happening. I have seen e-learning modules being skipped, and I've seen e-learning modules being done beautiful. I have seen live sessions going great. I have seen live sessions where participants are on their phone. And the only difference I have noticed in my 10 years of doing this is it relevant? Do they know why they are there? On a work day, you have got someone to come sit in your training or go through your video. Do they understand why they need to be there? Do they understand what exactly they're getting from this? And do they know how they can apply it in their work tomorrow? If you're able to do that, that's what these three anchor questions are, then it's not going to disrupt their productivity.
So thank you so much once again for the amazing and insightful answer. So before moving forward, would you like to give any final statement?
There is one more question. Yeah, I think they have
So
repeated it.
Prabhakar.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not behavior related change. It could be the need for system culture change. How to hack it, no training required. So do you mean by interventions where we don't go into training? Is that the question? Yeah. So the interventions could be, I remember there's an organization that needed slight sort of behavior change, and they figured they just need to add nudges. So they made small posters and they would stick in very strategic parts of the office for people to look at and read and go every day. Right? Even for that, you can use the same three anchor questions. You start with what behavior change you want to see. You look into why is it not happening today? What is it that is constraining people from not doing what they have to do? Then, how am I reinforcing? It will answer your question. This you don't even need to go into training. This anchor questions will answer for any nudges and any intervention.
So thank you so much for the great answer, Ashwini. So before moving forward, would you like to give any final statement, please?
It was very interesting answering your questions and being here, and such a nice privilege to address in this particular conference and gathering. Thank you for this opportunity. I hope you all learned something small, like us. I was able to make a spark from this webinar. So thank you, and looking forward to engaging more with you all. Thanks, brother.
Thank you so much once again for your session. Today's learning journey was also a roller coaster ride experience, so I'm sure our participants have enjoyed a lot. So thank you so much once again. And let's move with the session. I know we have started session a little bit delay. You guys are waiting for a long time. So I will not be taking more of your time and the speaker time. I'll just quickly wrap up the session. So, if you guys are ready for getting the certification into the learning and development, so the certifications are available now onto the our website, and we are also giving a complimentary coupon code to all of our participants, which will give you a 20% off. So, if you want to get certified into learning and development, so check out our website, opt for the certification, and get certified into learning and development. And yes, I am sharing the Ashwini's LinkedIn ID. That was next on my agenda. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhakar. So once again, so if you have any guidance or if you have any query or if you want to know more regarding the Ashwini or if you want to connect with her, I'm sharing a LinkedIn ID into the chat so that you don't miss out. Please do connect with her for any query, any guidance. I'm sure she would be happy to help you out, guys. So, before wrapping up the session, I wanted to make one more announcement regarding the utility tool. So, since the time I have started introducing utility tool, I have already started getting positive response from the participant who are on their job hunting journey right now. So, this tool has helped them a lot. So, if you're on your job hunting journey, I would strongly recommend you this tool, because this tool, you can log in into this utility tool by using your LinkedIn ID and password, and it will give you a recommendation segmentation according to the job designation you're targeting and the industry you're targeting. It will re-improvise your LinkedIn profile, your resume, and make your resume stand out in front of the HRs and recruiters. We are also giving a complimentary coupon code to all of our participants who are currently on their job hunting journey or who wants to explore the utility tool, which will give you 100% off for using this utility tool. I have sent the coupon code discount link into the chat box. Don't miss out, please. So as today we had a impactful and amazing session with Ashwini, tomorrow we are going to have one more insightful session with Sheena. Sheena is going to lead the session on mastering digital learning delivery, techniques for engaging remote learnings and overcoming virtual learning challenges. This is going to be at the same time, 30th Jan of tomorrow, 30th Jan at 9:30 a.m. Central, 11:30 p.m. Singapore, 9 p.m. Indian and 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So I'm hoping to see you all tomorrow as well. And as if you are an AI enthusiastic people, I would strongly recommend you this webinar because we are introducing new models, new technologies, new trends on every basis, every day on this. So this is going to be conducted from 26th to 30th Jan at 7:30 a.m. Central, 9:30 p.m. Singapore, 7 p.m. Indian, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. And if you're an ISO enthusiastic people, so I would strongly recommend you this webinar because we have added a lot of new modules, new trends, and new certification into this. So you can join into the ISO webinar at 26th to 30th January at 8:30 a.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Singapore, 8 p.m. Indian, and 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So with that, it's time to celebrate our referral champion today. We have Banu Durgesh, EPI, and Avinash Kumar. So special thanks to all three of you for helping us simplify our initiative and reach it to the wider global audience. So you can also become one of our knowledge professionals and advisors. If you have any peers or any colleagues who wants to join for this webinar or any other webinar, please refer them the registration link, which you will be find in our website, and every referral will earn you a point. And once you hit a 50 referral point, you will be able to get a free $400 worth gift certification voucher. So what are you waiting for? Take the advantage of this offer and become one of our knowledge professionals and advisor. If you want to be one of our speakers for learning capsules, webinars, and podcasts, so you can reach out at pratibha@gsdccouncil.org and preetham@gsdccouncil.org. I have shared you this email ID into the chat box so that you don't miss out. And these are the platforms where you guys can connect with us, our LinkedIn, our website, our WhatsApp group. And if we would love to hear your session key takeaways and learning outcomes, so please drop your suggestions and feedbacks on reviews.io. So I've shared all of the links along with the reviews.io link into the chat box so that you don't miss out. Do connect with us for any updates, any events, trends, or regarding any query on this platform, and do share your feedbacks or suggestions on reviews.io. With that, it's time to come to event end. Thank you so much once again, Ashwini, for the amazing session. We are very honored to have you as our speaker. Looking forward to having you in the future session as well. Thank you so much to all of the participants for joining into our learning journey. So we will see you tomorrow for one more impactful session. Till then, keep learning, keep energizing. Have a good day, good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you are.